Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to another week of Monday Movie Club. I hope that all of you are doing well. We've just started some conversations in the chat, catching up. I'm glad everyone's catching up with one another today. Thank you so much for watching and being a part. I hope you really enjoyed your time watching Aladdin. And seeing kind of the more modern version of an old classic. So thank you. Thank you so much for coming by and paying attention. As people are coming on, please feel free to let yourselves be known in the chat or let us know what you thought about the movie down in the comments if you're watching this at a later date. We're so excited to have you here today. As always, just going over the guidelines for Movie Club for anyone who's watching who may be new. This is where we take part in a discussion of the movie we've watched. So we won't be watching Aladdin. We'll be taking part in a discussion of what we have watched this week. So we ask for people to share about Monday Movie Club by using the hashtag, share with your friends, your families, share with one another, to participate in Movie Club, not only in the live streams here, but with the discussions that we have posted weekly in your own homes or with your own friends participating in watching movies together, as well as to be kind and loving to one another. That has never really been a problem with our little community, but just another way of letting us all know what is to be expected. As always, spoiler alerts are in effect. We openly talk about the movie and all of its aspects as they come up. So if you haven't watched Aladdin yet and you don't want things to be spoiled, feel free to pause this video and watch it at another date. Or if you're okay with having a couple things spoiled, feel free to participate in the discussion and maybe rewatch it with some of the things that we talk about in mind. We're so glad to have you all here. So first, as we begin tonight, what was your snack that you had during our movie time together? This week, I took part in actually having an old classic. I actually had just regular old popcorn. I had buttered popcorn with my snack. My son was not happy that I ate it by myself. When he found out I had popcorn, he was very upset that he did not take in any. So, what would be your movie of choice? Let me just transition here so you guys can see the things. Dinner. There's nothing boring about dinner, can I just say? If you have a good dinner and a movie is totally capable. My favorite way of watching a movie when theaters open again, I can't wait to do it again, is to order like a full meal, like burgers, fries, and have it in the movie theater with me and have dinner in a movie theater. So there's no shame in dinner and a movie. Yeah, it was just really, really good. What kind of dinner did you have, if you could remember? That would be interesting to let everyone know about. Yeah, so I'm glad you all were able to partake in some good meals, some good food. Um, and so it was really, really nice to know all that. As we open up, just with a really easy question, what was your favorite song or scene from the remake? And if you partook in our bonus challenge this week, since this was a remake of the original animated classic from 1992, did you watch the original? Tammy, the magic carpet scene is always be my favorite. Original on Saturday, and the remake on Sunday. That's very clever. Um, haven't watched it before. Yeah, if you did watch both, what were you? What did you wish that they had kept from the original? Because there were some changes that were made, so maybe there was something you missed from the original, or if you're aware of the original and familiar with the original, like I am, um, maybe there was something that you were like, man, I wished they had kept this from the original rather than updated. The Make Me a Prince scene. Yeah, that was great. I loved my favorite song in this one was See, I'm a musical fan, so all the songs are really great. But if I had to pick one, um, I really liked Prince Ali this time around versus the original. Just the way that Will Smith puts his own kind of spin on it is has been appealing to me. I really like that. Um, Iago was funnier in the original. I agree with you. Um, this time he was just kind of like, you know, those people who just like poke the bear to poke the bear. That's what I think Iago was in the remake. He was just like, how can I aggravate people more? Um, I really like my favorite scene is the lead up to "You Never Had a Friend Like Me" when like Abu is like the like one man band monkey, and then he sings like the first line, and then he's like, "Okay, I gotta do the whole song now." Um, so yeah, that was my favorite from the remake. I really enjoyed that. Any other scenes or lines? Maybe there was a funny line, um, and all this other stuff. Yeah, Will Smith played a good genie. I agree with you, Kirishanthan. I think it's different than the original. Um, there's always going to be a soft place in my heart for Robin Williams as the genie, but I was glad that Will Smith put his own little spin on it. Like, you know, when he gets mad that Aladdin's going to ruin his time at the party. Like, things like that where you don't get to see that kind of banter with the other one. So, yeah, it was really, really great. Um, yeah, I agree with you, Amy. Robin Williams would have been pleased with his performance. Yeah, I liked how they also updated like wardrobe and even like scenery and things like that. That was also really good. Um, I like that Princess Jasmine had more than just like one outfit the whole time or two outfits. I have no idea, but it was like every scene was like a different dress. I was just like, it was kind of nice to see all that. Yes, the scene where Aladdin said he would buy Jasmine was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. I think all of us who have been had crushes or infatuations or been in love can relate to being so nervous that we say the absolute wrong thing and make and like dig the hole, right? Like we can all relate to that absolutely. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It was a really good um, time to watch, but I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing kind of your insights and what you got out of it. So we're gonna move on to our next question. How do people, so just the world in general, in the film of Aladdin, see Aladdin and Jasmine? And how do these expectations of themselves influence their decisions? So, how do others in the movie view Aladdin? How do others in the movie view Jasmine? And how do you think these views impact or influence these characters? And if you're watching this at another date, as people are thinking and typing down answers in our live chat, if you're watching this another day, share with us what are some scenes that you really liked in your experience of the remake. What would you wish wasn't changed from the original? Just going to give a few more seconds while people have time to type because I know it's a big question. So Kira Shanthan, I think they view him, Aladdin, as a thief, but not by his characteristic or his character. Absolutely. I think the line in when he's by himself in the song where he's like, if only they would look closer, would they see a poor boy, no siree, right? they'd find out there's so much more to me. I always loved that kind of lamentful song in it because it really shows that he wasn't just a young man who stole because he had to steal. Like there was a lot more to this character than people gave him credit for. Absolutely. Deerfield. Jasmine is seen as the one who should be seen and not heard. Absolutely. Um, and they expect them to act like how they are labeled. Absolutely. Aladdin is seen street rat. I think it was really interesting to see like Jasmine, yes, a prize to be won, um, not meant to care about how the kingdom is and how it's run and things along those lines, to be seen, not heard, and that really demotivates someone. Like it really, if you were expected to just stand there and not participate and not have an opinion, you would eventually just start not having opinions. It's a very kind of discouraging thought. Absolutely. Um, Even to Aladdin, right? Like he stole to get into the palace and then he got caught and then the only way out was through the genie and so he had to rely on the wishes and things along those lines. Um, yeah, it's very interesting. Great insights, everybody. Well done. This is another two-parter, so we'll start with the first half of the question. What are some assumptions or expectations that others have made about you? Um, or if you'd like to not answer that, you can answer the question, what are some expectations you have made for yourself? Because we know, similar to Aladdin and Jasmine, there are people view people a certain way, and or we even view ourselves a certain way, where we have different views of ourselves, which then influence how we act, influence what we say, influence our goals in life. Um, so it would be interesting to see your ideas. What are maybe some assumptions people have made about you? Um, or even what are some assumptions you make about yourself that might hold you back or limit you? Um, as people are typing, I know there's a lot of thought about that, and it makes some people feel a bit vulnerable to share those things. For myself, uh, especially when I was younger, I was expected to get the best degree, um, especially by various um, people in my life, friends, family friends, things along those lines, to get the best education and the best paying job and to big house and all those things. And I thought that was my life for a while, and then uh, it wasn't until God made it very clear He had a different path for me, and I realized that my passion was for young people. My passion was for ministry. My passion was for mission. And many people don't go into ministry or mission for a paycheck. They go into it because it is a life-giving, um, a life-giving goal. And so that's definitely something that I felt limit me when I was younger. Didn't really give me an opportunity to explore some of that some days. Do you feel people expect me to be good at things I just started? Oh, I relate to that. That is a hard expectation to overcome, where people just think, oh, you're doing it, you must be great at it first thing out of the gate, not understanding we're all flawed human beings, and so we're not going to get it perfect the first time. I think that's such a relatable struggle. Thank you for sharing that, Deerfield. Um, Amy, people assume that I should know a lot more about dentistry because I've worked in it for many years. Absolutely. Yeah, about our jobs or what our education is. I know a lot more people. I have a lot of people because I'm in youth ministry that go, oh, you must know X person. Have you ever had that? Where they find out where you're from or what school you go to or what job you have. And so they go, oh, you must know said person or you must know said topic, like you were saying, Amy. And it kind of deflating when you have to say no. but but yeah, it's good. Um, I also for a long time had a lot of expectations similar to Deerfield that I should be good at things just because I start them. And that is just, that's so much stress on a person that I just put on myself. And I'm still working on that. I'm still not completely free of that assumption, that expectation of myself, but I think I'm better um, than I was when I was younger at just realizing that I'm not going to get something perfect the first time I try. Uh, People assume I'm good at working with young children, Tammy, and I'm very patient with young children, but I'm really not that patient with young children. Yep, I relate to that. I am a mother of a toddler, and everyone just assumes I am great with toddlers. Um, I be a little bit transparent and a little bit vulnerable with you guys. I struggle with a toddler. I've always struggled with toddlers. I hated babysitting them when I was younger. It was hard to relate to my cousins when they were toddlers. Um, all those things. I struggle. I try really hard to be relatable and be patient with them. So I understand that assumption and the pressure to live up to that assumption. Um, yeah, we do. Kirishanta, I'm just reading your comment. I think we have so much expectation on ourselves. Absolutely. I think for many different reasons, many different factors, we put a lot of different assumptions or expectations on ourselves. And and that's it's good to be aware of that, and it's good to have goals and to push ourselves, but it's also good to understand that sometimes these assumptions and sometimes that others can make on us or we can make on ourselves can make us stuck, make us feel um, isolated or even undervalued or not worth much. And so I think it's very important that we keep all of this in mind, which leads me to my final question before my final thought, which is what is God's expectation for us? So we think about what the world expects from us or what others see or assume of us. We see what culture or ourselves or our parents expect of us. But I would love to get your insights and your knowledge about what is God's expectation for us? What does He expect us to be? I'm going to read some of these comments as you continue to write. Uh, to go out and make disciples. That's a good callback to the Great Commandment, or Great Commission, my apologies. To do His will and make disciples. Amy, I don't really know what His expectations are besides the obvious. Like, what does He want me to do in my life? Is that what I'm doing right now good enough? To go spread His love. Yeah, I think we've all heard, not all, but we may have heard some passages about, I have plans for you, plans to prosper. And even now, I struggle with knowing that because my first instinct is to go, okay, tell me the plan. Tell me what I'm supposed to do. And as I was kind of reflecting on this, of what is God's expectation of us, I was actually drawn not to the Great Commission, which is an excellent point. That's our mission in life, is to go and make disciples, to teach his commands. Um, but actually, I was drawn to uh, the Great Commandments. Jesus was with uh, his followers, with his disciples, with a group of people. And I'm just going to read this passage. A religious man, came up and asked, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. Love your neighbors as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments." And I was just thinking about that this week, that that's the order that we're supposed to be living our life. That's his expectation for us, for us to love God and to love others in that order. And just to think, when asked by religious leaders, he could have said, "This is the specific plan that God has out for you." But we're all made different and we're all called to different things. But his expectation for us is always the same, which is to love him with everything we got, our heart, our soul, our minds, and to also love our neighbors, love others, just as, and in some cases, love our neighbors as ourselves. And that can be hard some days. And he says that all the law and all the prophets hang on these two. And you can see this within the law. Each of the laws are, if you look at the Old Testament and kind of dig into the Old Testament, you'll see most of these laws fit under one of these two spaces of, we do this because we love God, or we're doing this is the law because we're supposed to love others. I encourage you, maybe as an own separate Bible study, look at the 10 Commandments. Just type in 10 Commandments, Exodus 20, I believe, in your Bible apps or in Google or in your Bibles. Find it. I think it's Exodus 20. So way early in the Old Testament. And if you look at the 10 Commandments, they do follow this kind of thing of love the Lord your God, don't use his name in vain, don't worship anyone else but me, all these things which really reflect what loving God looks like. And then the other half, which is don't be envious of one another, don't murder one another, don't steal, honor your mother and father. Those are behaviors that resemble what loving others looks like. And so I just thought about that. God has plans for us, and he created us to do good things. And the thing he created me to do in life is going to look different than the thing you're created to do in life. And that's awesome. But no matter what my mission is, or my plans are, or what your plans are, or what our plans are, his first expectations for us is to love him with everything we got and to love our neighbors. And so I wanted to encourage you with that. Like we see in Aladdin Aladdin wasn't just a street rat who stole. He had a generous heart and a generous spirit. He gave to people who were hungry. He stole for survival, but also wanted to be truthful to Jasmine, returning her bracelet, wanting to, was kind of swayed into only thinking for himself and wanted to rectify that. And Jasmine, loved her country, loved her people, loved her father, and wanted what was best for them. And so, though not Christian, and so not loving God, they did resemble that. They loved others. And I think in the Aladdin story, there's lots of different themes we can pick up about not assuming people the way they look and things along those lines. But tonight, I just wanted to reflect on that idea of what does the world say we have to do? What do maybe we say some days that we have to do? But the truth is, what does God say we have to do? He says we have to love him and love others. So that's kind of my final thought for tonight as we wrap up. Um, what is, I guess, my question, so it's not just me talking to end this, would be maybe what is, maybe share what would be a practical way or a way we could love God, or what would be a practical way and how we can love others. I would love to end it on that note. So, what is something we can do to show that we love God or show our love for God? And what is some way or something we can do to show that we love others? Kirishanthan, sharing the good news. I love that answer. How would that look like to you? Maybe we can inspire one another to think creatively about what that could look like. Uh, Checking in on your loved ones and neighbors every once in a while. Bake or cook something for them. I love that idea. That's a super creative way, especially with the news about increasing numbers of people that can gather now. Um, the exciting news about churches in places being able to open up. But even that checking in would be a really good way to do it. Practical way, Amy, practical way of showing God's love, spending time in His Word and praying and making special time to be with Him. Absolutely. I think even just that, just being more intentional with our time and actually like a date that you make with a friend or a loved one, writing it in a calendar, just being like from this time to this time, like putting it in even a school agenda. I mean, we're all still home for school as it kind of wraps up, or what we're doing for the summers, but even going, okay, on Tuesdays from 1 till 1:30, I'm going to read or pray, or like that's God time. Could be a really cool way of making that a more regular habit if you need some structure like that, or if you're already doing something like that, adding a different aspect to it. Sitting down with the homeless person and visit. They don't have a lot of people that just sit and talk to them. Absolutely. I just think that's with anybody, being kind to the people who are also waiting in line for food, or sitting at a mall or in a park while you're sitting waiting there. Even like you and your neighbor come home or playing outside at the same time. Just saying hi, how's it going? Having an actual conversation could be cool, kind of fun. Praying for others and asking them for prayer requests. Ask them if they need anything. That's all great. I think the sharing the good news, I think it's that conversation piece for me. It's that being willing to have the conversation of, I love God, so I share the good news, which means I, be a part of what's going on and be a part of their lives, but also like share with them what God's been teaching me. Like, I read this thing the other day and it was kind of mind blowing. What do you think about forgiveness? Like it doesn't have to be out in the blue like that. Like maybe you don't do that with someone who's, waiting in line for food with you, but, or maybe you do. I don't know how bold you feel that day, but even like with a friend or who might not know who Jesus is or who God is, and just being like, I read this thing, or my youth pastor said this the other day and I'm still kind of wrestling with it. What are your thoughts? That's a great way of starting a conversation. That could be really good. Well, thanks everyone for sharing some really good practical ways that we can show we love God and that we love others. Thanks so much for participating in today's discussion. I'm just looking at, I don't have many announcements this week. Bless Up, as always. I think it's a great thing. I heard that some of you have joined the Bless Up community. And so if you are looking for a text-based check-in of encouragement or or a little bit of hope to your day, please contact blessup@ugta.ca and sign their form and get the information you would like. They're just entering their pilot now. They've been up and running for a couple weeks, and so it might be a really good opportunity while we're still kind of social distancing. We just had our online gathering. We're having a bit of technical issues with our latest gathering video, but as soon as it's back up, I suggest that you all subscribe to Doxa Toronto, their YouTube channel, because that's where we host all of our YouTube live streams and content. If you haven't already, feel free to like this video, subscribe to this channel, so that way you know all the updates about when I'm live or any other videos of ministry updates or anything else that goes on. Thank you so much for joining us this week, and let's finish things off with a little bit of news of what we're going to be doing next week. So next week we are going to be watching The Incredibles. So the old 2004, 16 years ago, it's hard to believe, 2004 Incredibles. A really great movie with family and superheroes and other things like that. Bit of warnings, I have it written on my phone so I didn't forget. So they are streaming now, The Incredibles, on Disney Plus. You can rent it off of YouTube. Cineplex.com has rentals of The Incredibles, Apple and Google Play. There's a warning, it is a superhero movie. It's rated PG. There is some gun violence as well as hand-to-hand combat violence due to its superhero nature, as well as, now, it's less than Star Wars. So, does it show violence? Yes. Is it a cartoon? Yes. So probably a different, so probably not as frightening in regards to that. But the other thing I want to make you wary of is that as I was rewatching it, I saw a warning on it that said that there was flashes of light and fast cuts that may trigger anyone who is photosensitive or has problems watching movies that have kind of those visual stimulations. So if you are a person that has that, please do not risk your own mental health and your own health watching. We just want to make sure everyone is safe, but especially as I was watching some clips, there are some flashing moments, some really fast edits. And so if those things tend to trigger you, please do not, you are never obligated nor required to watch a movie on Movie Club. So if this does not follow family rules, if you are not comfortable, if you're not interested, or it's just something that might, in this case, put you in a very sensitive place in regards to your self-care, please feel free to skip. We'd love to still have you in the discussion next week, but we want to make sure that everyone is having a good time with the movie club. I will be posting the questions attached to The Incredibles in the comments below, as well as later on my social medias, Instagram and Facebook, which you can follow at Sue BannockYU if you don't already, or just follow that hashtag Monday Movie Club. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I was glad to see everybody here, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening and a wonderful night ahead. Enjoy watching The Incredibles.